a generation of Russian people. At the same time, it must be understood that what is happening in our South Caucasus is a very big problem, and the Caspian may soon find itself in a situation where NATO bases could appear there.
Ukrainian defense forces have successfully liberated the settlements of Stepne and Novokostiantynivka, formerly Pershytravnia, in the Sumy region from Russian invaders. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported the development in its nightly update on August 11th. Through decisive and coordinated actions, the soldiers of the 225th Separate Assault Battalion drove enemy forces beyond Ukraine's state border, the statement noted. Meanwhile, monitoring resources, including Deep State, as well as the General Staff's daily battle map, had not indicated the presence of Russian occupation forces in these settlements. It is possible that the General Staff's report refers to the prevention of an attempted breakthrough by Russian assault or sabotage reconnaissance groups along a new section of the border in the Sumy region. The enemy continues attempts to advance into the Sumy region. However, thanks to the active efforts of the Ukrainian Defense Forces, these advances are being contained and occupied territories are being reclaimed. Recently, drone operators from the Special Operations Forces Unit UAR Regi team destroyed a Russian unit that attempted to cross a body of a river using a boat in an effort to land on the opposite bank and approach the positions of Ukrainian defenders. Ukrainian Armed Forces Major Andriy Tkachuk says the situation in Sumy region is stabilizing, with Ukrainian troops continuing counteroffensive actions there as well as operations in Russia's Kursk region. He noted that while Russia had previously escalated threats of advancing on Sumy, it currently lacks the capability to do so. Satellite images confirm damage after a recent drone attack. The August 8th attack on the Airton fuel base in Milarovo destroyed one tanker and damaged at least one more. On the other side, in 5 days, the Russians have made a breakthrough and advanced about 15 kilometers deep into the Ukrainian defense on a narrow section of the front. This was reported by Deep State analysts. According to Deep State, the enemy has now advanced to the settlements of Kucherev Yar and Zoloty Kolodiaz, using constant pressure from superior infantry forces. The information about the breakthrough is also confirmed by the official map of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine as of 8 a.m. on August 11th. Russian troops also entered the village of Vesel from Kucherev Yar and are amassing there. Over the past day, about 24 enemy infantrymen have been spotted in this village. The Russians are trying to establish positions and gain a foothold in the area. The enemy continues to build on its success in the direction of the Dobropilia-Kramatorsk road. Enemy infantrymen were spotted in the area of Novovodiane and Petrivka. As noted by Deep State, the situation is currently quite chaotic. The enemy, having found gaps in the defense, is seeping deeper, bypassing Ukrainian positions, where it tries to quickly gain a foothold and accumulate for further advancement. The situation is complicated by the fact that the area of Zoloty Kolodiaz, Shakhov, and other settlements in the vicinity is the site of construction of new heavy engineering and fortification structures. The enemy can bypass them and later occupy them and use them for its own defense. After the final consolidation and accumulation, the Russians will definitely try to move deeper into the territory and expand the breakthrough. Drone crews will also be deployed, making it difficult for the defense forces to reorganize alternative logistics and hold the surrounding positions. Russia's tactic of attacking with infantry groups results in extremely high casualties among the assault troops. However, given the critical shortage of Ukrainian infantry, the constant influx of Russian volunteers, and the lack of value placed on Russian lives in the eyes of their commanders, they can afford to use such tactics. According to the Deep State project map, starting on August 7th, and as of the evening of August 11th, the Russians were able to develop a breakthrough to a depth of about 15 kilometers and 5 to 6 kilometers along the front. Such a narrow ledge, if the command has reserves and operational actions, still leaves a chance. If not to cut the ledge and encircle the Russian troops, then to take control of logistics and gradually destroy the Russian units in the operational environment. However, if the situation is not stabilized quickly, Dobropilya and the entire group of troops defending the Pokrovsk-Mirnohrad agglomeration may be at risk. And from the other flank, it also threatens the coverage of Kostiantynivka. In the long run, this breakthrough also poses a threat to the Sloviansk-Kramatorsk agglomeration. In response to reports of a possible Russian breakthrough in the Pokrovsk-Dobropilya area, Commander-in-Chief Syrsky has deployed additional forces and assets to detect and destroy Russian sabotage groups infiltrating beyond the defensive line, operational grouping Dnipro reports. A few days ago, the Azov Corps took up defensive positions on the Pokrovsk axis. According to the 1st Corps of the National Guard, units have implemented measures to block Russian forces. The situation remains difficult and dynamic. The enemy attempting to advance in this direction is suffering heavy losses in manpower and equipment, the Corps stated. Russia is reportedly planning to declare the war in Ukraine over after a peace treaty is signed by Trump on 15th of August. But the intention appears to be to convince Trump that Ukraine is a recalcitrant warmonger that doesn't deserve any more aid if it refuses to go along. The fighter bomber Telegram channel writes, "There was a series of broadcasts on our federal channels where it was stated in black and white that on August 15th, the presidents of the USA and Russia will sign an agreement after which the special military operation will end. Of course, I would like it to happen, but it seems to me that such statements are a cunning plan. The plan is simple. We demonstrate to the whole world our desire and wish to end the SMO. Of course, taking into account the realities on the ground and actually eliminating the reasons for the beginning of the SMO. And we demonstrate this desire and wish at the highest level possible. Of course, we have done everything possible to end the war, but Zelensky and his friends are finding a bunch of excuses to continue it, and we are not to blame. Objectively speaking, if the negotiations result in at least a cessation or reduction of military aid to Ukraine from the United States on a long-term basis, that would already be wonderful. If this prediction is accurate, it suggests that Russia aims to trap Ukraine by convincing Trump to sign a peace treaty without Ukrainian involvement or consent, with terms that are unacceptable to the Ukrainians, then blaming Zelensky when he rejects it. In the aftermath of such a rejection, Russia and anti-Ukraine voices in the U.S. would encourage Trump to see it as a personal insult to himself and urge him to block further aid to Ukraine, including European provision of U.S. weapons. Reports suggest that the U.S. is considering an agreement under which Ukraine would be forced to withdraw from the unoccupied part of the Donetsk region, surrendering its extensive defensive lines in exchange for Russia agreeing to a ceasefire. Z-propagandists are very displeased with the news about Azerbaijan's humanitarian aid to Ukraine. Solovyov claimed that there is now a very big problem in the South Caucasus and that NATO bases could appear in the Caspian region.
Fate, Oshe, is just like that. A generation of Russian people. At the same time, it must be understood that what is happening in our South Caucasus is a very big problem, and the Caspian may soon find itself in a situation where NATO bases could appear there.
And this is so dangerous that, we've considered from a geopolitical standpoint, it could lead to consequences where this might not be the last special military operation of our generation.
Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said he feels a mix of fear and hope ahead of this week's U.S.-Russia summit on the war in Ukraine. He noted that the U.S. has promised to consult with its European partners before the Alaska meeting. "I will wait for the results of the Trump-Putin talks. I have many fears and much hope," Tusk said.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.